Hi everybody. Today is February 12th. It is a Tuesday, and this is the longer version of the Utah water supply briefing as of February. We would have done one in January, but due to the unfortunate shutdown, we did not produce one, nor were we able to. So let's start the water year in February. So as of Tuesday, we've got a winter storm coming. I don't want to get into it too much because it's pretty long, but when you look, there's two jets involved. This is the polar jet right here, and this is the subtropical jet. This high pressure down here is scooping up all sorts of moisture and bringing it up to an atmospheric river into California in Utah. This low pressure is then going to move in. So this storm is going to start on Wednesday, and it's going to keep going all the way through Sunday. Put down about 3 inches, maybe 4 inches of water. But when you go back and look at the climatology of the water year, we started great guns in October. In the first 10 days of October, we had 300 to 400% precipitation, and then things kind of cooled off a little bit, but you can see we started really well, and this was what we needed. And then November, a lot of the state didn't have as much precipitation, especially down in San Juan and southern Utah. But the northern mountains did much better, and this is a direct result of high pressure being more of the dominant weather feature. Storms would come across and show us what we typically see, the green and the bare doing much better than southern Utah. And then December hit, and we didn't see much storminess at all in December. It was a tough time. It was really a bad month as far as precip goes. We had early season. It was great. It put white in the mountains, and then we waited. And then January hit. January did much better with the exception of the bare. The entire state, for the most part, did really well. And then we hit February, and we're seeing amounts, 300 to 500% precipitation. Plus, we've got that storm coming that's going to put us on pace for snow levels near around 2011, and we'll get to that in a bit. But when you look at the water year from 2019, this is what you see. Pretty healthy numbers all the way across Utah. Cooler numbers indicate above average precip, and you only see the brown colors in the upper bare. But overall, doing quite well. But in the mountains where it counts, this is what you see. And it's very healthy with the exception of the green and with the exception of the bare. When you look at temperatures, when you look from November through January, it's been cold. And it's been colder than average, and which is really nice. This is what we need. It's usually we see warm temperatures, and it's playing havoc with our snowpack, but it did quite well. When you look at just the month of February so far, up to the 11th, it's been very cold for most of the country. When you look up in North Dakota, they're, somewhere around 16 degrees below, but for Utah, we're in the 5 to 7 degree range of much cooler temperatures, which is keeping the snowpack, and it's an indicator of the storm activity that we've had. So moving along there, when you look at the snow amounts, what I did was when I made these graphics, I took 2017 is that aqua line. The red is average. The navy color is where we are right now, and the green is last year. And you can see how it was terrible last year. And 2017 was much bigger. And people are asking us, when is the last time we've had such a big year? Well, it was only 2 years ago. The bare is about average at 103% of median when you look at that number, and that's kind of how we do snow. But a little bit below average at this time. They're the low ends. And when you look at last year, some of the low years, it's usually northern Utah, the bare, the Weber, or the green is doing much better than the rest of the state. And this year it's a flip-flop. The farther south you go, the numbers get better. The Weber's at 109% of median, and not even close to 2011. But when you think of 3 to 4 inches of water, we could be near there as we get closer to next week. Six Creeks, 127%. Again, as you go farther south, things are improving. And with Six Creeks, this is right off of Salt Lake County, Little Cottonwood, Big Cottonwood, all the way around to City Creek. These numbers will be in the range of 2011. And then when you go to Utah Lake, 129%. 2011 is far away. But when you look at last year was really a tough year, driest on record. Duchesne at 127% of median. Green above Fontenelle at only an 88%. Last year they did better, which is kind of weird when you look at the graphic. Everything else has been, a little flip-flop from last year to this year. Down in Lake Powell, this is an abbreviated group, but 109%. Some of this is Utah, some of this is Colorado, but doing better than last year. We'll take it. And then the severe at 150% of median. And then the Virgin also doing quite well at 154% of median. So overall, snow numbers are doing quite well, except for the far north green area. But the predominance of Utah is much better. So now here comes the water supply forecast made by the Colorado Basin River Forecast Center. And we'll look at 2 points, Woodruff Narrows Reservoir and the State Line Dam. And we'll start with Woodruff Narrows Reservoir at 85% of average, 94% median. Again, these are some of the lower numbers. Stewart Dam, 49% of average and 76% median. That has to do with how it's regulated, so those numbers are kind of artificially low. Weber River, we'll look at 3 points, Oakley at the headwaters, East Canyon Reservoir, and then Pineview Reservoir. And we'll start with Oakley. And what we see in the headwater areas is 88% of average forecast. And this is the volume of water anticipated to come out of the mountains from April 1st through the end of July. And it's at 90% of median. And you can see where the model is kind of picked up just about the same as our forecast for 50th percent. But that's going to go up after the storm comes through. Echo Reservoir on the Weber River, 81% of average, 83% of median. Pineview, 97% average, 112% median, doing quite well. Now we go down to Six Creeks, and we look at Little Cottonwood, and then we look at City Creek. And Little Cottonwood is expected to have 97% of average or 106% median volume flow. City Creek, 86% average, 112% median. And then we move down to Utah Lake. We'll look at 2 points there. Up near the Provo, near Woodland, up in the headwater areas, and then a Spanish Fork near Castilla. Woodland is at 103% average, 102% median, doing quite well. Spanish Fork near Castilla, 94% average, 138% median, which is good. This area has been low for quite some time over the years. The Duchesne, we'll look at 3 points here, and we'll start at Strawberry, and then go to Duchesne near Tabiona, and then Knight's Diversion. And then when you look at these 3 areas, Soldier Springs, the Strawberry Reservoir, 96% of average, 142% median. We'll take that since that's such a large body. Duchesne near Tabiona, 93% average, 106% median. And then at Knight's Diversion, 97% average, 109% median. And then down into the price, we'll look at 2 points here, Schofield and then Joe's Valley. And Schofield Reservoir inflow, 100% average, 117% median. We'll take that. And then Joe's Valley at 102% average or 124% median. And then the Upper Green, which has the lowest numbers relative to the rest of our area. We'll start at Green River, and then we'll go look at Flaming Gorge. And Green River, 69% of average forecast and 80% median. And then Flaming Gorge Reservoir, 64% average, 76% median. And this area did incredible these last years. Just phenomenal amounts of water. And it's not looking like that now. Cisco on the Colorado River as it comes into Utah from Colorado. And then Lake Powell. So we look at Cisco, 83% average, 94% median. And then Lake Powell at 74% average, 82% median. We'll slide over to the Sevier, Hatch at the headwater, and farther down to Marysvale. And what we see with these areas, as far as Hatch goes, 77% average, 103% median. You would expect that number to be a little higher, but it has to do with dry soils for the most part. And then Marysvale at 85% average, 117% median. And now down to the Virgin. And we'll start at the Virgin near Virgin. And then at Littlefield, and when you look at Virgin, 86% average, 122% median. And then Littlefield, 71% average, 121% median. And the spread between average and median is just due to some outlier events that have occurred down in this area over time that kind of pull the average lower. But the actual median is probably a better number to look at when you think of trying to get rid of some of the outliers. As far as drought goes, we've improved our drought situation. We used to have the highest drought in the country in the fall, with some exceptional drought, D4. Now we're in the range of moderate drought for the entire state, and really with these storms coming up and we don't tank as we get into March and April, we can anticipate an improvement of our drought conditions if this weather continues. And it's kind of hard to keep up 300-400% precipitation, but active pattern would be nice to have. So there you have it. There's my contact info if you need anything else from me. I'm Brian McInerney. I'm the hydrologist with the National Weather Service in Salt Lake City. Send me an email, send me a call, and we'll chat about all things water. Thank you again.